Good morning, everybody. And obviously, I can't see you all at the moment, but Natalie can. And I'm so happy that you've all decided to take the time to come and join us this morning for this little mini maths in March, the first of three that are hopefully going to be very enlightening and give you a little bit to think about within maths within your setting. So, just a little welcome to say who I am. I'm Tracey Anderson. I'm a senior lead practitioner here at Childhaven Nursery in Scarborough. I've worked here for 34, nearly 35 years, so I have seen a whole mix of different approaches, assessment tools, the way things are, running in a nursery. But we've come to a nice, happy place at the moment where loose parts are incorporated a lot in our play. This came about because 6 years ago, thereabouts, we embarked on the curiosity approach accreditation, which was a bit of a light bulb moment for all the staff here. We have discovered that you don't need the plastic toys, they're a little bit limiting. So most of our plasticky type toys were slowly removed, and we took on the idea of introducing loose parts throughout nursery to allow the children the invitation to come and play, imagine, do whatever they feel. So we're going to have this first sort of little discussion, this half an hour. I've got some lovely slides to share with you on loose parts and how we use them within maths in nursery. Hopefully you might pick up one or two ideas to use. I hope so. I hope it's very interesting for you and enlightening. We observe how children play through we observe how children learn through their play, through observing, through letting them be investigative, exploring, moving the loose parts. So what I will do, I'm going to be sharing the slides in a moment. I'll just bear with you. If you just bear with me, just be open-minded. Just think a little bit about what you have in your setting, what you could maybe take away from today, and just sort of enjoy it. There's time at the end if you want to ask me any questions. The slides will be available at the end from Natalie to share with you. And hopefully, we'll have a little bit of time to discuss and carry any ideas, your thoughts you may have on. So I'm going to start with my first slide. So again, it says, welcome everybody. The aim is to get a clearer and achievable understanding of how loose parts can help with maths in early years, how they work, how they can be used confidently in play, how we can enjoy, share ideas, and be creative. As you can see, we've got loose parts. These are all the pictures that I've used of what we have in nursery, what we have done in nursery. So we've got loose parts can be anywhere. What you probably think wouldn't work may work, and what you think will work will will work. So it's like a collection really now. We go to treasure like junk shops, you name it, charity shops. We're forever like scouting on Facebook for little things that we think. So you know what, we could do some keys, or we could do with some more pots and pans. Everything your mind starts sort of changing your way of thinking. So you start looking for things that you think you probably wouldn't use ever, or things you got at home, or boxes, tubes, anything. These are like at the bottom of the screen there, you can see door handles, lovely, heavy glass door handles. Um, you might worry that glass it breaks. Yes, it does break, but children, you've got to be aware of risk. Obviously, if you've got children that are throwing things, those children that you know about, you're aware of those, and you can work with those and just be a little bit careful with them when you're working with them. Um, We've got the little garden ideas out here at the other bottom corner. We've got log slices, stones, your cones, seasonal loose parts that you can get. We've got little cones in there. We've got the five frames, which we will move on to later next week. I'll just move on to my next So we've got loose parts are open-ended. That's the main sort of ethos around this. Children can move them, they can combine, sort, count, and transform. They may include natural materials or other items, everyday household items that you probably think, do you know what? I wouldn't think of taking those to nursery. We've got whisks, we've got wooden spoons, sieves, colanders, you name it. Anything you think, oh, I don't know whether that would work. Coat hangers, boxes, plastic tubs, you name it. Just try and collect them, save them, and use them, really. Um, Most of the areas of learning can be supported through loose parts play. I'd like to say that the majority of our play within nursery now is linked to loose parts or block play. We've got a lot of block play, but we've got tubes at the moment. I've just been playing yesterday. We had tubes, cones, huge big bolts and nuts that were given to us by somebody. And the play and the involvement was like tremendous. The imagination flowed. So you can cover most of the areas of learning within using loose parts. Personal, social, and emotional development. Playing with loose parts can children can discuss their ideas, listen to the ideas of others. The strong evidence that shows allowing children to play collaboratively helps develop relationship skills. Communication and language. Children can extend their vocabulary as they introduce new words during their play. There is strong evidence that teaching and modelling vocabulary can have a positive effect on oral language skills. So again, using your loose parts, you've got where it came from, what it does, guessing, imagining, wondering, all those different suggestions, the modelling from the adult to put those words into the children, which is what we try to do. We try to support, guide, narrate alongside the children's play, provide resources, interact when needed, step back when we're not needed, observe, just be there with the children, co-playing. And then what we found that what we're able to do then is spiral the children's play. So something's been happening with something, say the cones or the tubes, that play then can then be spiraled by staff talking to each other. Things may happen inside that then can be moved outside, or the children can then develop in another space or just tend to develop naturally by themselves in other areas of the nursery. And maths, which is obviously why we're here today to think about loose parts within maths. It provides endless opportunities to investigate size, the shape, the feel, the touch, the classifying, introduce mathematical vocabulary, more, less, one more, bigger, big, biggest, small, small, smallest, all the language the lovely rich language that we want our children to be open to is within the loose parts scope. There is research that suggests that children who have good mathematical language do better in maths because they've got the understanding, they can reason, they can question, they can critically think. So all that from loose parts seems quite a simple idea, really. So loose parts within maths explained a little bit more. Loose parts involves using these materials to explore mathematical ideas through child-led play. No fixed outcome, doesn't have to be an end product, doesn't have to be, this is what we're sitting down, this is what we're going to do today. It's a free, come and play, come and explore, come and choose your toys, your toys from the side, what tools you want, what you're going to make, what would you like to use with the things that we have available, the loose parts. They're all there just to choose and use as the children wishes on that day. Learning will develop through explorations and experimentation. There are links that link to the EYFS, so everything's they're in place when you read from the Education Endowment Foundation store. There's evidence, strong evidence, that early mathematics using loose parts supports that play. There's links on here on this slide that you will get that you can go onto the EVE store to research further for yourself. But yeah, so the evidence is there that the loose parts is a huge element in maths development. Uh, Children can play, they're exploring, they stay motivated, and they are thinking critically, which is what more could we ask for with the children, young 2, 3, and 4 year olds. Amazing. Even we've got like our under twos now, the babies they've got loose parts in there, so there's you just have to think a little bit about what loose parts you would put out for the age of the children. Obviously, you wouldn't want tiny little stones if children are still at the stage where they're putting objects in their mouth. But then you can use bigger loose parts. It's just thinking a little bit and using your own initiative to think what's suitable, what's not suitable. If you've got children that are, have trajectory schema, then obviously moving glass or delicate, more crockery things out of the way, then it's just sort of insensible really about what you use, where and when, basically. A few more real maths, real pictures is what we've had here on the next slide. Things that we've used in nursery. I think we've got baubles there at Christmas in an old egg box. Conkers, seasonal again, lining, counting, sorting, subitizing, um, deciding if you've got more, less. The zips, we were given a big bag of zips from a company. Well, they were just like, it was like Christmases had come all at once the day we got the bag of zips out. Up, down, long, short, biggest, longest. The language is never ending. We've got stones in the bottom corner. The stones that we use are just so valuable, absolutely amazing. You can put patterns on them, you can leave them blank, you can have them in sizes. The use is just never ending. So why loose parts works within maths? It works for us. We find it amazing. It might not work for everybody. You might think, it's not for us. This isn't for us really. It's not our way of thinking. It's worth a little try, even if you just think, I'll take one idea, I'll have a little basket of something and try little things. The adults interaction massively helps. I mean, we're always on the lookout for wherever we're on an out and about walk, we're looking for loose parts to bring back to nursery to use, to explore, to investigate further. Um, support counting, you can support subitizing, your maths, pattern making, problem solving, language development, fine motor skills, real maths without realizing it. And that's what we want, to have your maths within your play, within the child's learning, without knowing, you know. Children are engaging meaningfully, fully mathematically learning through play. They're not completing formal tasks, yet they are developing that deep understanding, the deep understanding that will take them on to become experts in maths, in thinking, in speaking, in deciding, critically thinking. It's just amazing, really wonderful. The counting and cardinality, there's examples you can have include filling 5 or 10 frames, which we'll talk about a little bit more next week on the next week's session. Finding the totals of objects used together. These experiences help children understand what numbers represent without having to show 1, 2, 3, 4. Using your objects that they can really hold, handle, find themselves, sort themselves, share with each other. It's real maths, real counting. Subitizing, which we'll dive a little bit deeper into in our session next week also. Loose parts support subitizing by allowing children to quickly recognize quantities. Very quickly recognizing quantities, more, less, Activities may include recreating dice patterns or dot arrangements using the objects. Patterns children naturally create, repeating or growing patterns using loose parts. Adults can support learning by using mathematical language and open-ended questions, which is what we're all about, the open-ended questions. It's always, we don't want a yes and no answers. We want, the questions that children can think about, really give their own thought, their own imagination to. Go on to the next one. Again, our real maths in our setting, we've got the mud area. We've got 3 trays there. They knew they had 3 trays. They needed 3 trays, this little child. Needed 3 trays because they had food for 3 bears. They were filling them. One was quite full, one was nearly full, and one was empty. So we had maths language happening at the same time. The next picture, we've got the sand. We're in the sand. The little girl was saying that she'd made one had fallen down. She'd made 3 altogether. She knew that by just looking at what she was playing with. She knew by subitizing in her own mind, she had 3 sandcastles that she'd built on the edge of the tyre. One had been knocked down, so she had 2 left. Simple describing from a child herself at 3 years old, and just wonderful. We've got in the next little picture, the little boys lining up foil cake containers, little foil, like Bakewell tarts. Those, wash those, save those. Perfect. Lining up, you can fill them with little beads. Or this little boy just likes to line up, so he had his long line. He was counting them, just he's counting his own self. Touch counting. Somebody moved one, he wanted it back. So there's the interaction with other children. We've got marks in the sand with the greenery. We bring greenery in from outside so often, chopping it, cutting it, making it smaller, having long pieces of greenery, maths language again. So anything you think, oh, I don't know whether that would work. Try it and just see, your mind might start whizzing a little bit now, thinking, oh, I could try that. Every time, when we're at home now, we collect constantly our junk or intelligent resources, as we often try to call it, because it sounds a little bit nicer, because they're very intelligent, because we're using them for a purpose. We've got the block play outside with the logs and the twigs. These boys were making a log fire. They had to go and find the logs. They wanted long logs in the garden, so they searched the garden for the long ones. They were looking for particular size logs. So they were thinking, they were working together, they had the imagination, there was story, and there was all sorts happening in that little bit of play. And then you've got your comparing, measuring. Children can explore heavier, lighter, using balance scales or comparing length. Like I said before, with the zips, they were just amazing for the zips. You could have ribbons, strings. Your mind can just keep going really with all the ideas that the loose parts can bring to your setting. Number representation. Loose parts allows children to represent numbers in different ways, supporting number composition and decomposition, taking away one more, adding on, more, less. It just happens naturally without the formal teaching of maths. It's just with the children learning in their play, which is what we want to get that deep beginning foundation understanding. The adult role, of course, the adult role is extremely important. Adults observe, you model your mathematical language, you extend the learning through open-ended questions, providing resources, suggesting, modeling, interacting without taking control of the play. Avoid over-directing or turning loose parts into maths into formal tasks. Sort of, how can I describe it? Lining them up and saying, how many have you got? 1, 2, 3. It would happen intermittently. You would get the maths as and when. You do have your assessment opportunities. If you're playing with your children, you can see that they've got the idea, they've got an idea of number. They can subitize, they can know that they can see 2, they can see 3, see 1. They can tell you've got more, you've got less. They've got an idea of number, of quantity, of length, of mathematical language, of shape, of position. Assessments can be captured through observing, co-playing, taking photographs, notes linked to assessment tools that you use for your own maths outcomes. Learning is rich and visible when practitioners know what you're looking for. So you need to know what you're looking for with your own child. You will know your own children. You will know your own key children or all the children in your setting, where they are at with their learning, what they um, like to play with, if they've got certain quirks that they like, and then you can find those resources or search or ask parents. We do a lot of asking for resources, big blankets, big covers for painting on, for laying out flat, large fabrics, buttons, zips, cones, loose parts of any range that you might think we could do with that, corks, tin lids. You can ask parents, you can research in charity shops. So don't be afraid to go out and ask and look and save your own intelligent resources at home. Uh, the worry that I think some people may have is, oh, practitioners, you worry about your mess. Recognizing maths, will it be recognizable? You're monitoring, but you will get this. Please don't worry. Try it. Just try it and see. You may have your worries, but just try it. That's all I'm saying. Try it. Give it, a week or so. Try it. You may be using things like this already. It just to give you a little bit of a refresher. Think about what you've got, what you have available. Um, a good point that we try to remember that we are constantly bringing ourselves back to, the less is more. Don't overload with baskets and baskets and baskets of too much. Keep your resources low. You don't need too much. Less is more. That is the key. That is what we are constantly looking at. Only last week we had a little look round all our spaces together as a team, and we had a little bit of a revamp. Less is more. Taking some things away, limiting what you have out for your loose parts, because then the children can see, they can really see what you've got, what they can use. And if more's needed, then you can find those. That's our role. We can provide those resources as and when, but try less is more. And please be reassured, Ofsted value intentional, provisional, and strong adult interactions. We call it co-play. Co-playing, becoming involved. You're interacting, you're modelling, suggesting, narrating alongside, providing those resources, engaging, your time, playing, co-playing. Loose parts demonstrates clear and meaningful learning. What can you see? That's a lot of what we say. What can you see? Not how many have you got. Let the child tell you what they see. Spoons, planks, long plants, frames, corks, wood, buttons, spatial awareness, shape, pattern, size, orientation, positional language, everything that you could possibly want within maths learning, you can gain through loose parts. So we've got lines, patterns, counting, number recognition, maths language, fill in the box, critical thinking, working things out, problem solving, reasoning, sharing, everything is there. So all I'm hoping, if you can take away from today, I know it's been very short, brief, lots to look at and think about. You will have all these slides to take away. Loose parts makes maths meaningful. Everyday objects are powerful resources. Adult language, along with the spark of co-playing, turns play for children into learning. And just a little final thought, start small. Try one basket, one area, one idea. Loose parts maths can grow naturally within your setting. Enjoy it and just, have fun with the children and start thinking about what you can collect and what else you can, search for. You probably come up with some other ideas that we've never thought of. but enjoy it and be part of the children's learning. Enjoy, be present, facilitate resources, observe, and just remembering less is more. And keep your eyes out for all those lovely loose parts that are available out there for us. So thank you, everybody. We've got the last slide I think Natalie's going to share, and I think we'll finish on there. Natalie, thank you.